Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Ben Crossman. I hope all of you are having a great Friday. You're ready to, of course, head into the weekend. But before you do, we got to finish up some work. And, of course, you have to listen to some Computer America. And we're happy that you do. And you are in luck because we have a great show planned for you today, where in the second part of the program, we will be doing computer and technology news. And these are news stories and articles and just topics that we feel you should know about just to keep up to date and keep informed about the, just about the tech world around you. Also, in the first part of the show, though, as per usual, we have a guest, but as per not so usual, I believe this is the first time we will be talking with them, and we will be talking about Chefling, which is, well, as they build themselves, your personal kitchen assistant. And trust me, I love to cook, and I could definitely use a kitchen assistant. So we'll be talking to them in just a moment. But before we do, a couple of things, including computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find everything and anything for today's show. So be that a link to our guest website, or if you want to check out any news stories or videos that we show here on the program, you can find those in the show notes as well. Just, hey, if you're busy, if you're driving, we got you covered. Also, while you are at our website, be sure to check out the social media contest brought to you by Logitech, which we will be giving away a prize later on in the program today. And then you can also check out the live video feed where brought to you by OWC. So with all that being said, I think we're just going to go ahead and jump right into this and start talking about, again, Chefling, what it is that they do, how they do it, and how you can benefit from it. So everyone help me welcome onto the program Mr. Jeff G, and I'm sure he's going to, correct me if I mispronounce that, but Jeff is here, and he is the co-founder of Chefling. So Jeff, thank you for joining us. How you doing?
Yeah, hi Ben, thank you for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure, our pleasure. So, obviously, let's go ahead and get some background on yourself and the company. Listed here as co-founder. Talk about, kind of how the idea for Chefling came up and how you decided to, and how, do you have a cooking background or a tech background? Tell us about the company. Tell us about yourself.
Sure. I don't have a cooking background, and honestly, I was doing master at Northwestern, I think 2 years ago, and there was one entrepreneurship class where we were, divided into individual groups and discussing about potential opportunities for business or any disruption technology which can be applied to daily use. And then we were thinking of building a sensor system. And it turns out to be really hard to build that hardware from the beginning. And during the survey process, we realized that people really like the idea of what the software, companion software or the app can do. So we decided to pivot from the hardware idea to the software. So that's where originally Chefling idea was from. And after graduation, we started to see a lot of new technologies coming into smart kitchen area. So people have been talking about smart home for a long time. Mm-hmm. But now, you have smart devices in your living room, bedroom, but not exactly in your kitchen. We think there's a unique opportunity for us to jump into this area. And so we decided to pursue this idea after graduation. And then the other two of my co-founders are also from Northwestern. I think, we have been working on this for 2 years now. That's how we get started.
Yeah, very cool. And a lot of questions, of course, spring to mind immediately. But I guess the first one that I can ask you, obviously, you have Chefling, and we'll talk about just what devices it runs on and things like that. But I mean, just as just kind of an overview. Do you think that not just voice controlled, digital assistants, but do you think smart devices in the kitchen are ready for prime time? Because you mentioned, a lot of people have, let's say, Alexas in their living room, and maybe you might have her tell you a joke. You might ask what's on your schedule. You might ask for the weather. Pretty passive, not very complicated things, and so that makes kind of sense, but when you're talking about kitchens, you have things that can burn you. You have things that can set things on fire. You have things that are very convoluted. When you follow a recipe, it can get pretty complicated. Do you think smart devices in general are ready for the kitchen? And yeah.
Yeah, the issue isn't from the smart devices themselves. Let's say, people have been using smart oven for quite a while, but, I doubt if everyone has downloaded the companion app and make the oven connected.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is really from the software, how people can use this. You don't really expect people to download every single app for every single piece of smart device in their kitchen. So, for example, if you want to use your oven, you have to switch to your oven app and something. If you want to use your fridge, and you switch to the other app. And if you want to cook some recipes, and you switch to a different recipe app. And these are too many things. It's too much for us. And that's stopping people from utilizing the best from these smart or connected devices. So we think that it's essential piece of software, or you can call it essential platform for the smart kitchen, is really missing, and we want to be there. So the benefits of having a platform thing for your kitchen is that you don't have to remember a lot of different apps, and you don't have to remember a lot of voice control commands. It's just one app for all. Yeah,
Right.
and then you mentioned about the security concerns, like the burners or the microwave.
Mm-hmm.
These appliance manufacturers, they thought about this as well. You can't just give one voice command to your stove, let's say turn on the burner, and then the fire starts to burn. It's not working like that. There are some basic security mechanisms there. But overall, I think people can benefit more from this convenient voice command experience in their kitchen.
I know, and that's a big part of it. And of course, let's talk about that platform that you've built and just how people, kind of get that. So just for anyone out there watching the video portion, we have your website up. We're going to be poking around, but for all the radio listeners out there, how do people get involved with Chefling? Is this, again, from your website, is this strictly a smartphone app? Is this something on a website as well? Just how would one use Chefling?
Okay, so right now it's a mobile phone app. It's available for both Android and iOS, and it's also available for Amazon Echo and Google Home devices. So when we start to design this so-called platform thing, we didn't start from the appliances. We start from the users or the everyday. People are doing every day the tasks in the kitchen. It's really just the cooking, grocery shopping, and then inventory management. These three things, it's the core thing that people do every day. But these three things are inseparable. We can't pile up different features just for the sake of the features.
Mm-hmm.
The features like inventory, shopping, and recipe recommendation should be organically bonded with each other. Just like when you are thinking, what's for dinner, you have this question, and you start to think of, okay, what ingredients I have at home now. And so with these ingredients, can I cook this recipe or not? If not, and I must be missing a few ingredients, and I need to purchase this. And then once I purchase these ingredients, and now I know I have these ingredients, so that I can cook more recipes. This is how our thinking process working, and that is all in the Chefling app. So one example is if you download the Chefling App, you can input some items in your digital inventory, and the digital inventory would drive the cookbook or the recipe.
Right.
The recipes now come to you automatically. No more manual searching. It's just the right content, find the right audience at the right time. And of course, you can, if you don't like these recommended recipes, you can still browse more recipes. And if you're missing these ingredients, you can just add ingredients to your shopping list. Okay, it's also in the Chefling App. Once you check off these items from your shopping list, these items will be in your digital pantry automatically. So creating a loop structure here.
We're going to get into exactly how it works here in just a minute. But one thing that and we already have a question in the chat room, and I think it more closely involves kind of user feedback, where they wanted to know if people are staying in and cooking more, or if they're going out, or but I'm kind of curious about user feedback, and if you find that people I don't know, maybe. All right. Here we go. Two parts. One, is this for novice cooks? Is this for expert cooks? Is this for chefs, who do this during the day and they're like, oh, I want to bring some of my functionality to my own kitchen? Or who's Chefling really for? And then the people who have used it, do they find themselves, cooking more? Which I think cooking at home is a very healthy, price conscious kind of way to go about it. Are people cooking more at home? And again, who's Chefling aimed at?
We actually targeted to the people who love home cooking, from college students to young couples, as well as families with kids. Mm-hmm. We're not targeting those professional chefs or novice cooks. So that one feature comes to be very handy for these big families, which is allowing a family group to be created in the app, so that you can add your family members here, so that you can manage your inventory and shopping list at the same time, and the changes will be synced across devices. So we're really targeting the normal users. This is not for professional chefs, right, and so on.
Right. And then, of course, again, a little bit of feedback. Do you find that people, what are people saying about it? Are they saying that's like, oh, I actually remember what's in the back of my fridge instead of letting it spoil, or I'm cooking it in more, or I find new recipes through Chefling? What's just been the overall reaction to your product?
So actually, we got the feedbacks. I mean, two of them are most commonly one I received. One is the kind of like the smart inventory management system. It's not that you manually type anything. You take a picture of your grocery receipt, one picture for the entire receipt, and we can recognize and extract these ingredients to your inventory, and put them into correct categories, and label them with an approximate expiration date. All this can be done by taking a picture of your receipt. No more manual typing, so people tend to love it. And then, of course, they give us a lot of feedback on how to even improve this feature further. And the other thing they talk about is they like the intuitive recipe matching thing. So previously people have to check what's in their pantry or inventory or fridge, mm-hmm. and then they manually search. If they don't have an idea what to cook, they manually search on Google. But now it's not working like that. It's whenever you just care about your inventory, and the content will come to you automatically. As time goes by, our algorithm can learn your diet preference. So it can give you better and better recipes. So these two features, smart inventory management and the intuitive recipe matching, are the ones people like the most.
They are really cool features, and I think you almost just sold me on this, because I have it downloaded and I was going to give it a try, but I really want to give it a try because right now our current family dynamic is where we all find a scrap piece of paper and we all take a pen or a pencil and we write down everything, and half the time you can barely read it, and sometimes there are 3 or 4 different lists going. and just real quickly, you mentioned these family groups. Let's say there are two different devices. Could you like, I don't want to say like, friend each other, but let's say I have a phone and let's say my brother has a phone. Could we, add to the same list or see the same app, or does everyone kind of have to duplicate it themselves?
It's you add this person to one list, and whatever changes you or he make on the list,
Mm-hmm.
this list will sync across devices automatically. You don't have to manually refresh it; it just comes up.
That's nice.
So that's how it works. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely nice. And then you keep mentioning these recipes. Obviously, having ingredients is one thing. Knowing what you want to cook, that's another. The internet is full of recipes. Like I think as many cat pictures as there are as many pictures of food and recipes to be found. How did you curate your recipes? Is this something that you partnered with someone, or do you have someone back there furiously typing? Where did you get your recipes from, and how many recipes can be found in your app?
We work with individual food bloggers in the U.S. So we talk to them one by one, and try to bring them on board to work with us. Of course, in exchange, we bring extra traffic to their website, to the blog. We don't show the entire or the full recipe in our app. We just show the picture and who is the creator, and then the ingredient list. No cooking steps. So, for example, if you open the app, you select certain recipe, and at the bottom of that page, there's one button called View Cooking Steps. Once people are interested in this article or this recipe, they can click that. We'll direct them to the blogs or website. So that, we are benefiting from getting more and more content, and they are benefiting from this extra traffic or extra exposure. And so far, we have about, 80,000 recipes in place. And we are expanding the list of bloggers that we're working with, but pretty quickly. And we hope to reach about 200,000 recipes, in a few more months.
Yeah, so and that is very impressive, and I was, going to be very, very curious. So very cool that you're helping, food bloggers, because it's a very competitive field, and getting those eyeballs on their page. That's that's a very cool feature that you do. Talk about and again, we kind of started this whole thing with Chefling being your personal kitchen assistant. Talk about the rise of having Alexa, Google Home, to a lesser extent Siri, in the kitchen, and just why was it so important to have this work with digital assistants, and how does it work with digital assistants? Does it just read recipes, or go ahead?
Yeah, so for this smart speaker devices, we call it the tomorrow product. Tomorrow product means once you tried it, you don't want to go back. So this kind of experience, we tried from iPhone, we tried from, let's say, electronic toothbrush, and all these kind of things. But ideally, when you're cooking in the kitchen, your hands are full of things, or just wet or dirty. There's no room for you to touch any electronic devices, or you just don't want to touch that. And it makes perfect sense for you to use voice. And especially with this Amazon Echo or Google Home, they can recognize your voice very well, even when you are in a pretty noisy environment while you're cooking. So people find it really simple and intuitive to set a timer or add something to your shopping list so you'll never forget. And actually, one feature which was mostly used for Chefling skill is add something to my shopping list. So when you say add something to my shopping list to your Alexa device, it will be added to your Chefling App shopping list. So once it's in the Chefling App, you and your brother, for example, are in the same group. Both of your shopping lists are automatically updated. So when you go to the grocery store, you never forget. You don't have to bring your paper shopping list. You never forget that. You never forget what you wanted to purchase before. And coming back to the basic question, how do you use Chefling with Alexa?
Right.
So everyone who purchases an Echo needs to download an Alexa app to set it up, basically. And in the Alexa app, you can search for Chefling, and then you can find a Chefling logo where you can connect. Once you click connect, you need to sort of put your Chefling account and password in that. Once that's done, you're good to go. Now, whatever you say from the Alexa device would be synced with your Chefling app. So, for example, if you say add something to my shopping list to Alexa, and then it will be added to your Chefling app. Or if you say, what's for dinner? What's for lunch? And instead of getting you a random recipe from the internet, now the Chefling skill or the Alexa can give you the personalized recipe that you can cook right now with all the ingredients you have. So we call this a proactive assistant. It's not reactive. Let's say, if you use Google Home or Alexa itself,
Right.
You have to say, you have to say, find me a chicken salad recipe, right? And then you have to tell the assistant what do you want. But with the Chefling, what you do is, what salad can I make right now? So it gives you the salad you can make with the ingredients you have in your kitchen, so that you can go to kitchen and start cooking right away. That's how you work with it.
Pretty interesting. And of course, when you're cooking in the kitchen, I've run into this a lot. It's, one of those things where your hands are kind of messy. You don't want to be fiddling with a tablet. Maybe if you're watching a YouTube video, they're just going to keep going regardless of what you're doing. So I mean, just having just something there that you can, make notes or add to a list, that's going to be very, very helpful. And, great that you work with both Alexa and Google Home. So two of the biggest players. Talk about what are some of your favorite features of using this? I mean, there's cooking before Chefling, and it's messy. It's pretty convoluted. Cooking after Chefling, what are some of your favorite things that you just can't live without anymore?
So I really love the pantry, or the pantry is the name of that feature we have for inventory. Or I would just say I really love the inventory and recipe correlation feature. So one example is taking a picture of the receipt is really easy. Mm-hmm. And once this item being added to my pantry, first of all, I get a clear view. What do I have? The second thing is it has automatic expiration reminding. Very few people on our platform, they will edit the expiration date for certain items. And then this data would be applied to the rest of our users on the platform. So majority people can benefit from the minority people who contribute the data. So it gives me the automatic expiration reminding. Right inside in the inventory. If I see two items are about to expire in 2 days, click one button. I can find recipes. I can find recipes to consume these 2 items, or I go to recipes and I can find immediately what breakfast I can cook with blueberries, bananas, or pancakes. It comes up with a very nice idea. So this changed, the way I was cooking. I used to be pretty lazy when I'm in the kitchen, or lazy, not lazy being cooking, but lazy being thinking about what I want to cook, because I just don't want to go there and search. But right now, I don't need to search. The right content come after me. Right. So I really love this kind of feelings, and I believe this is where the future of smart kitchen is going, where the right content find the right audience at the right time.
So, and feel free to take this one for you, absolutely free. Sometimes we have companies on the show, and I like their products, and then I think of something that would be really cool to kind of add to this. And I don't know if it may currently be a feature. I'm not sure yet, but I use not for pantry or inventory or recipes or anything, but just for, calorie tracking. I use MyFitnessPal. I think almost everyone uses that thing. And it's pretty nice to be able to punch in what food you're getting, or just being able to see what how many calories are in certain ingredients, and then you can kind of, as I cook, I add them each to that list with their approximate calorie count, and you kind of get the approximate calorie count for the entire meal. Is there any nutrition facts or calorie counting, or just kind of any, again, nutrition facts for what you're cooking, or is that maybe just found primarily in people's blogs?
We understand there's a trend that people want to eat healthy and more and more healthy, and but unfortunately, we don't generate in-house recipes. So we do have the plan. So I mean, to be short, we don't have calories or nutrition facts for the recipes on the platform right now. But we do have the plan. The plan takes a step by step. The first step would be we will work with the bloggers who have nutrition facts and calorie information for their content. That's one thing. The other one we would be really careful with is what you just mentioned about FitnessPal, calorie counting, these kinds of apps. We really want to make this app easy for majority of people to use.
Right.
And we want to find a right balance with allowing people to input a lot of information, meanwhile keeping the app easy to use. It will be fine if you don't type those information. It will be also fine. So that I think would take a bit longer, which I don't have a clear plan right now for that particular feature.
Okay, no, and again, it was just checking to see if you did, and that's perfectly fine. Keep it simple, keep it to the food and the cooking and that kind of thing. So, no, makes perfect sense. Talk about, so obviously iOS, Android, two of the main platforms. I think BlackBerry's gone. So people can download it through either one of these. How much does it cost? Are there any in-app purchases? Talk about the app itself.
You're right. This is available on iOS and Android only, and it's free to download. And at the moment, it doesn't have any in-app purchase. We raised our first round of funding in this January and hope that we can reach to the maximum amount of users at the beginning. And we are considering a few premium features where people can, for example, they can make meal plans or use Siri integrations or many other things we can come up with. So that can be in-app purchase in the future. But right now, there's no in-app purchase. You can just download for free.
Right. And then obviously, if you have a Google Home or an Amazon Alexa, you would just have to download the skill associated with Chefling, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And those skills are also free, by the way.
Oh, awesome. There you go. So, no, all this. And so talk about, and let's go ahead and wrap it up there because we're about to run into the break. And it's been a really interesting half hour. But if people want to find out more, I'll go ahead and let you have the last word. Where can they go and where should they look?
So our website is www.chefling.net. And, we keep updating the website to make sure some necessary information is up to date. And if you need personal assistance from the team, or you can send us an email at support@chefling.net, and we'll reply the email within 24 hours.
Very, very nice. And as I said at the beginning of the show, computeramerica.com, today's show notes, and we have a link to chefling.net, chefling.net. You can find it there. And I got to say, Jeff, I am literally going to try this tonight. It's, honestly, this seems like a better way of just handling my kitchen in general. So I'll let you know what I think of it.
Thank you very much, Ben. I look forward to hearing from you.
Yep. And everyone else out there, again, iOS, Android, check it out. And Jeff, until next time, thank you so much for coming on and have a great day.
Thank you very much. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so there he goes, and everyone, you can check that out, chefling.net. So, hey, the music means we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. More Computer America with computer and technology news right after this. Everyone, stay tuned.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. That's 800-215-4461.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 32 minutes past the hour as we continue on here. And you know what? I think as we are about to head into computer and technology news, we can, of course, pick our winner for this week's social media contest. And by the way, a lot of you folks have been entering, and we very much appreciate it. And let's see, we have over 10,000 entries at this moment. And of course, so one person, one entry. So, hey, if you are one of these people, this is going to be, well, 1 in 10,000. So here we go. This week's winner is, let me see if we could do this. So yeah, we're going to pick a winner, and let's go ahead and do the drum roll. Well, actually it's more of a trumpet roll. There we go. I like that. All right. So this week's winner of the Logitech M720 Triathlon mouse goes to, draw one winner. Scroll over to the bottom, and this week's winner is Miss Jill Rivera. Jill Rivera listens to us in Pennsville, New Jersey. And of course, she won by following Computer America on Twitter. That's at Computer America if you want to follow us as well. But be sure to, of course, enter the contest at our website. And again, prize, we'll get in touch with you. We'll get in touch with Logitech, make all this happen. And Jill, if you're listening, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for, of course, entering the contest. And hey, congratulations on the mouse. So if you want to be next week's Jill, of course, enter the contest at computeramerica.com. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with computer and technology news. And as I said before, this is a segment dedicated to all things new, interesting, and newsworthy here for technology. So let's get started. Computer and technology news brought to you by OWC. Here we go. So here's something that I think everyone should be wary of, and this is for anyone out there who knows about extensions or add-ons or plugins, whatever you want to call them, for Apple Safari, Firefox, Google Chrome, Opera, any of the other browsers that use Chrome or that use extensions. And well, this has to do with a particular extension, and it was spotted by a software engineer who was using it, and then, well, over the past couple of weeks, it started acting wonky, and someone finally dug into it and looked at what it was actually doing. And so what it used to do is it used to restructure websites. So let's say Twitter or Facebook, it would restructure these pages to cut out some of the fluff, cut out some of the advertising, make it more, I don't want to say interesting to look at, but make it more direct to look at. You get the content you want. And so that's what the browser plugin did for a number of years. Well, according to this article from Naked Security, they're saying that unbeknownst to to the gentleman or anyone else, in January 2017, the extension was sold to new owners, and they changed the privacy policy and the outlook. So it was a popular extension. It was purchased by another company. No one said anything. I'm sure if you went to their website, they might have had like a little footnote at the bottom. Some of these acquisitions happen very quickly and not very transparently. Anywho, they said that Stylish could monitor every website that he visited. And worse, because Heaton had an account login for the extension, it could relate his activity to his identity. So obviously, if you have, like, let's say Chrome, you log into Chrome and you get everything. So the extension did one thing and it did it well, and so he never fiddled with it, sold it to new owners, and the new owners decided that they were going to track browsing history, browsing habits, collect all the user data that they possibly could, where they can then, of course, package it up and sell it to advertisers. Obviously, this is not fair to those who downloaded one product and then ended up with another here very shortly. So it seems that the browser maker didn't pick up on the implications of the changes in the ownership, which is why Mozilla has this week abruptly removed it from its list of Firefox add-ons, saying that we decided to block because of violations of data practices outlined in the review policy. So given that, and by the way, this was an add-on called Stylish, so if you use Stylish, be careful. And so it's no longer available in Chrome or Firefox. They've both been taken down, as well as in Opera. But that will not help the 2 million people who have already downloaded it. And it's just one of those things that I felt like I wanted to bring up as well, that so many people I meet, and this is such a bad thing for technology in general, so many people I meet, they find something, it works, and it works just like they want it to, and then they never revisit the issue. They never check to see if there's a better, email handler. There's never a better ad blocker. There's never a better weather reporting widget for your desktop. Like, they find one thing and they never leave it. That is a problem. You should always be on the lookout for something new, something better, something that is more secure. Folks, I bring you this story again, not because I think all of you use Stylish, but rather because maybe you have an extension or a browser extension that you still have and you just haven't used it for years, or you've just used it for years and you never really checked and see what it's up to. Yeah, be careful, because these things can change behind the scenes very quickly and very subtly. So, all right, there's that story. Let's go ahead and zip on over to a couple of these. All right. Let's do this one. So we talked about Netflix. It was yesterday. We talked about Netflix yesterday with Mike Cermak. It was a great show. Definitely go back and check it out. But this has to do with a certain feature of Netflix that they tried to kind of hamstring, and then they went off and now they're just gonna kill it. So what I'm talking about is the Netflix reviews. And these really didn't make much of a difference to begin with, but I found them entertaining sometimes. I found them useful. If I was on the fence about something, I would read the review, and, depending on what people said, I would either watch it or not watch it because, hey, people are generally smart. Yeah, and one of them has to do with the fact, okay. So Netflix is ditching user reviews. And you may remember a couple months ago, maybe even last year, they did away with the 5-star rating system that we all know and love, and they now have a thumbs up, thumbs down kind of ratio. And they give you a percentage, like 60% of people like this versus 40% of people, or 98% people would recommend this, things like that. And yeah, so that was the new system. It didn't allow for a lot of flexibility. It was either you like it or you don't. Much less kind of information dense than the 5-star rating system. Anywho, now they are just doing away with the whole thing by the end of the summer. And they said that if you still got something to get off your chest about the new season of Kimmy Schmidt, you'll be able to do so through the end of the month. So for the rest of this month, you'll be able to do exactly that. So they said that a spokesman for the company acknowledged as much in an email, saying that we have notified members that we have used the feature, or that have used the feature recently. And let's see. So let's go ahead and talk about kind of why they decided to change it, saying that a thumbs down lets us know that you aren't interested in watching that title and we should stop suggesting it to you. You can still search for it, but we've heard what you were trying to tell us. You aren't a fan, and it will no longer show up in your homepage. In either case, using thumbs helps us learn even more about your unique taste so that we can do a better job of suggesting you stories that we think you'll love. So the review system has only been available via desktop version of the service, and from most accounts, it's been fairly underused of late. So once it's gone, the thumbs up, thumbs down will remain intact if you still need the world to know what you thought. On the other hand, that's what social media is for, I guess. And that's from the author. Again, this article from TechCrunch. But the point is, these mattered to a certain subset of people. Like they said, you couldn't use this except if you were on the desktop version of Netflix. Another part of it has to do with the fact that they did away with people really recommending things, and it's more Netflix recommends or Netflix suggests or Netflix thinks you'll like this. Based on your interest. It's an 86% match. It's a 70% match. It's a 99% match. Things like that. They're moving more towards a system where computers tell you what you're going to like versus people. And it kind of makes sense because people are very biased. People either love something or they hate something. Take, for instance, a situation that happened with a comedian. It happened with, I don't remember her name. Anywho, a comedian, she received a lot of backlash on social media, and people went out and tanked her last stand-up special. It was just something that they did. Thousands of people went out and downvoted or gave 1-star reviews to her comedy special when none of those people actually sat down and watched it. So they've been moving away from systems that are open to manipulation, that are open to, some kind of malfeasance. And instead, they're moving to, again, a system where Netflix recommends based on your viewing habits. Whether or not that's a good thing, hey, we'll definitely see. But there's that one. All right. Let's see. So we have a number of other stories here. Let's get... All right, this one's interesting. So the United States, I think one of its crowning achievements, and even though, yes, we still have email, and yes, we have some of these other newfangled technologies, one of its shining achievements has been the United States Post Office. And, when they do things right, they do them really right, and it's cool to see. But sometimes they can also do them wrong. And that's where you run into a $3.5 million claim for copyright infringement that the post office now has to pay the owners of the Las Vegas Statue of Liberty. I think you can see where this is going. Where this is from from Ars Technica, and the post office owes $3.5 million for using the wrong Statue of Liberty on a stamp. So if you're looking at the video portion, you can see the side-by-side picture here. The one on the left obviously is the one in New York. The one on the right is in Las Vegas in front of one of the hotels there. And so, if you're looking at it, the one in New York has a broader nose, a bit more stern face. Obviously, one inspired the other, but as the article points out, it's a bit more masculine, or the one in Vegas is a bit more feminine. Anywho, these kinds of things have led someone to look close enough at a stamp and go, hey, wait, that doesn't look like the Lady Liberty I know. So, a sculptor who created a replica of the Statue of Liberty for the Las Vegas casino was awarded a $3.5 million in damages last week after the U.S. Postal Service accidentally used a photo of his statue rather than a photo of the original statue in the New York harbor. And they said that if you bought a forever stamp between 2011 and 2014, there's a good chance that it showed the face of the Statue of Liberty replica that sculptor Robert Davidson constructed for the New York Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. So the post office licensed a photo of Davidson's statue for the image, from the image service Getty for $1,500, and initially believing that it was the photograph of the original statue. So, and you can see it here, I think a lot of people would be familiar with the forever stamps purchased a little while ago. So the stamp with the resulting image was released to the public in December 2010, and it took 4 months before anyone pointed out the mistake to the post office. And in March 2011, a spokesperson said that the USPS still loves the stamp design and would have selected this photograph anyways. So even though it was a mistake, the post office says it was a happy mistake. So Davidson sued, arguing that he was owed royalties for the unauthorized use of his image of his statue, but the post office argued that it was a mere copy of a famous statue and that his work wasn't entitled to copyright protection. Which, you can kind of see the point there. If you look at them side by side, obviously he didn't take much of a creative liberty with the Statue of Liberty. It's as close to one as you can get. So, the U.S. Court of Federal Claims disagreed. Davidson testified that he had tried to feminize the rather masculine-looking statue, and that the court agreed and concluded that the Davidson's modifications to the face were sufficiently large to grant his work originality and defeat the government's fair claim use. So there you have it. He actually did, as I said, try to feminize the Statue of Liberty. So the final issue the court needed to decide was how much money Davidson was owed. The USPS argued that a lot of artists were eager to have their work on stamps, and so the U.S. Post Office has never had to pay more than $5,000 for a license to use the work. And Davidson, and of course USPS, argued that Davidson should get no more than $10,000. And don't get me wrong, 10 grand is a lot. But these forever stamps, a lot of people saw them. Everyone saw them, and yeah. So Davidson countered that he should get a percentage rate for every stamp issued, and with billions of stamps sold, that could be a very large number. So the court ultimately focused on the 3.24% of the stamps that were never used, either because they were lost or because they were retained by stamp collectors, and that these stamps represent pure profit for the post office, and the court concluded that it was reasonable for the post office to pay per stamp royalty for the unused stamps. That's an interesting way to go about it. So, $70 million in post office revenue during the 3 years, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, all the damages, everything said, everything told, $3.55 million later, and the issue is settled. So, that's quite a legal case. I mean, you're taking on the U.S. government. Obviously, this thing took several years to work its way through the court system, and he walks away with $3.55 million. Man, that is a lot of work for a lot of money, and yeah, just an interesting tidbit. So, folks, never, ever, ever, never get the New York Statue of Liberty mixed up with the New York Statue of Liberty in Las Vegas, because it could cost you. So, there's that one. Let's see. So we have time for like maybe 2 more stories. We should probably cover this one, but all right, let's go ahead. So, California. You know them. They're a state. They're a big state. They make a lot of money. And why this matters is because whatever California does, most other states, not just liberal states, but most states in the country tend to do as well, because if you make the money, you kind of get to make the rules. Engadget, David Lum, California's net neutrality bill regains some key protections. So lawmaker negotiations reinstated protections against fast lanes and zero rating content, which are 2 big parts of net neutrality. So the California Senate passed its own net neutrality preserving bill, but several amendments added on by the state assembly, they said that they were stripped from the legislation. So the bill's author and other proponents have negotiated with Chairman Santiago and emerged with a compromise reinstating some of the key provisions into the bill that defend consumers from ISPs establishing fast lanes and providing anti-competitive zero-rating content. These are big ones. So let's just talk about the 2 terms that they were able to defend in this new legislation. And it has to do with the first one, internet fast lanes. This was the idea that ISPs were already pushing before net neutrality, and was one of the driving forces why net neutrality was needed, was that internet companies wanted to prioritize traffic into these things called internet fast lanes, where if you paid them enough money, either from, let's say you are the content creator side, if you're trying to deliver content, let's say YouTube, Netflix, and Hulu are all competing against each other, and they all go to the same ISP and they say, we want to make sure our customers get the best service possible, and to heck with everyone else. So that leads the internet company to go, all right, we'll, for X amount of money, we'll deliver YouTube content super fast, super high quality, and at the expense, if Netflix or Hulu don't pay us, we're going to deliver them on a lower tier of internet. So it's going to maybe skip, it's going to lag, it's going to look crummy, it's going to buffer, it's going to do these things that obviously people don't want to do. And then if you want to hop onto the fast lane with YouTube, Netflix and Hulu would have to pay more money to the internet company to get on that quote unquote fast lane. And then, of course, think about it from a smaller content. Let's say Computer America, we want to provide you with, the best version of the audio of today's show. Well, we're not going to pay an internet company top dollar to get our audio to you. So as opposed to someone else who may do that, our content is automatically at a disadvantage compared to someone else just because we didn't pay the extra money someone else did. Obviously, these are fundamental ways that the internet does not currently work, but could have worked if this legislation was not allowed to go, or if this legislation was not in place. Obviously, they've talked about it, but they haven't implemented it yet, but this is making sure that they never will. The other thing, zero rating. This was something that was actively happening across the country, and more so towards internet, mobile internet, so mobile data. Let's say T-Mobile makes a deal with Hulu, so if you watch Hulu through the T-Mobile network, it won't count against your data cap, and you'll be able to watch high-definition video. So if you have the choice between Hulu or Netflix, and Hulu costs zero data, whereas Netflix costs you a lot of data, and it looks worse, which one, as a consumer, are you obviously going to choose? Right. So they're protecting companies from implementing fast lanes and zero rating content. So they said that Santiago, who received large campaign donations from AT&T, helped add the amendments that struck out language in the bill that prohibited fast lanes and treating internet content differently. And the new version of the bill has all the same protections as the original bill, but per Santiago's requirement, is structured differently in order to stand up to scrutiny in court. So the full text won't be provided until August 6th, but a fact sheet providing his by his office, and you can see this, the statement there if you'd like to read it. Either way, the negotiations also resulted in the creation of a new separate bill which requires any ISP contracted by the state to abide by California's net neutrality principles. So the rest of the legislature must pass the bill, after which it heads to the governor's desk for signature. And either way, a lot of people saw some of the language taken out of the bill previously as being lobbyist money from large internet companies having their way and weakening the legislation. Because as the article pointed out, hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but a lot of money went into the pocket of someone who wrote out some of the protections for consumers. Yeah, it's pretty interesting seeing this go back and forth. And again, net neutrality being stripped away from the FCC, but is being implemented on a state-by-state basis. And California is the big one, where most of the money in the country, I think if California, the state, were to be completely removed from the United States, it would be like the world's 7th largest economy on its own. Like the United States is currently number 1, China number 2, and yeah, California on its own is like number 7. It's massive. So if companies want to do business there, they have to obey California law. And overall, hey, if you're a fan of net neutrality, then you're in luck. This is a pretty awesome thing. So with that being said, we don't have time for any more articles. Some of the other ones include Elon Musk has sent over some teams of engineers to Thailand? There we go. Thailand, to help with those, with those boys who are trapped. And it's just a horrible situation. I hope that they can help, and of course, hope that they get out. Even beyond that, let's see. Sonos files for Sonos is going public, and a couple of other things. Folks, we're just out of time. And if you want to find these stories and more, go to computeramerica.com, today's show notes, and of course, a link to today's guest, which was, again, Chefling. So, with that being said, everyone, have a great day, have a great weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in to Computer America. And everyone, hey, be good, be safe, have a great weekend, and catch you here Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Folks, until next time. Bye-bye.